but wanting it to bring him something that would change the way things were, to fill the emptiness in the house below. But the wind did not reply. It howled about Gwyn's head, tore at his clothes, then slowly it died away, taking somewhere within its swirling streams and currents the precious brooch, and leaving nothing in return. Then from the west came a silver-white cloud of snow, obscuring within minutes the sea, the surrounding mountains and the fields. And as the snow began to encircle and embrace him, Gwyn found himself chanting, "Math, Lord of Gwynedd, Gwydion Angilwaethu." This he repeated, "Math, Lord of Gwynedd, Gwydion Angilwaethu." This he repeated over and over again, not knowing whether he was calling to the living or the dead, and all the while huge snowflakes drifting silently about him, melting as they touched him, so that he did not turn into a snowman, that he might otherwise have become. Gwyn stood motionless for what seemed like hours, enveloped in the soft, serene whiteness, waiting for an answer. Yet had Nine promised him an answer? In the stillness he thought he heard a sound, very high and light, like icicles on glass. His legs began to ache, his face grew numb with cold, and when the night clouds darkened the sky, he began his descent, resentful and forlorn. The lower slopes of the mountain were still green. The snow had not touched them, and it was difficult for Gwyn to believe he'd been standing deep in snow only minutes earlier. Only for the last field could the summit be seen. But by the time Gwyn reached the field, the mountain was obscured by mist, and he could not tell if snow still lay above. It was dark when he got home. Before opening the back door, he stamped his boots. His absence from the farm all day would not be appreciated, he realized, and he did not wish to aggravate the situation with muddy boots. He raised his hand to brush his shoulder free of the dust he usually managed to collect, and his fingers encountered something icy and cold. Believing it was a snowflake or even an icicle, Gwyn plucked it off his shoulder and moved closer to the kitchen window to examine what he'd found. His mother had not yet drawn the curtains, and the light streamed into the yard. It was a snowflake, the most beautiful he'd ever seen, for it was magnified into an exquisite and intricate pattern, a star glistening like crystal in the soft light. And then the most extraordinary thing happened. The star began to move, and Gwyn stared, amazed at it gradually assumed the shape of a tiny silver spider. And the wind heard him after all. Was he a magician then? "Gwyn, is that you out there? You'll have no tea if you hang out any longer." His mother had spied him from the window. Gwyn closed his fingers over the spider and tried to open the back door with his left hand. The door was jerked back violently, and his father pulled him into the kitchen. "What the hell are you doing out there? You're late. Can't you open a door now?" Mr. Griffiths had flecks of mud on his spectacles. Gwyn tried not to look at them.